Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand episode of Media Fae. Today I'm alone, and today I'll be discussing the latest Godzilla movie to come out, Godzilla Minus One, which has made the waves here in the West for being one of the better movies of the year and one of the best Godzilla movies of all time. Which is insane to think about, because Godzilla has always been, for Americans, I guess, Godzilla has always been this, quote-unquote superhero character. He's never been that serious at all. It's all monster fights. But now, this movie came out, and it is making waves, and it's showing that Godzilla can be what he originally was meant to be, and what he kind of lost almost immediately with the next movie after 1954, which is Raids Again, where he fought Anguirus. So, yeah, talking about Godzilla Minus One, and before we get into it, I have to say, sorry for the wait. It's been 12 days since our last episode, which is the Pokemon episode, so kind of back-to-back Japanese monsters kind of thing, also with Gamera a few days ago, and Monster Hunter too. But yeah, sorry about the wait. I was sick for a while, and finals and all that, so we didn't have the most amount of time to actually make episodes. And I really did want to, but I didn't have the time. And so, yeah, that's why there hasn't been episodes. And I know it is Christmas Eve, which means that I'm making this on a holiday, which is actually not what we usually do on Media Fae. We don't make episodes on holidays. We do release episodes on holidays, but we don't make them on holidays. But yeah, I'm recording this on a holiday. There are probably going to be more episodes coming out. I'm recording today, maybe. I'm not too sure. Usually, Christmas Eve festivities don't start until late at night, so I probably do have quite a lot of hours to actually record episodes. So if you see more episodes come out later today, then I seek permission to get more episodes out. But yeah, now that we're done with a lot of, we have more free time to ourselves, we can focus on the podcast a lot more. So yeah. We'll be seeing an influx of episodes. Probably. I don't know how many more, but quite a bit. But yeah, moving away from that, let's have to move into Godzilla. So this, again, I have my notes here, which will become normal from now on. So yeah. Talking about Godzilla Minus One, starting off with the CGI, which is what we usually start off, what I usually start off with. So the CGI for this movie is actually great. It does look a bit shoddy at times, but it's very far between a bunch of really good shots, and I feel like the CGI here is impressive, not because it's just a really good, really good CGI, but it is really good CGI. It's also made on a $15 million budget, which is the budget of Shin Godzilla, but Shin Godzilla CGI wasn't as well done as it is here. In this movie, Godzilla is fully portrayed by CGI. I'm pretty sure in Shin Godzilla there were some parts that were suitmation. There was a Shin suit, but in here it is purely CGI. And for that, it looks great. So yeah, it's really impressive that it was made on a $15 million budget. I know a lot of people have already said this. But it's made on a it's made a $50 million budget. I think it's made that Triplet's budget or something by now. I don't know if it's still playing in theaters. I know they're gonna be in Japan. They're gonna re-release in January, where it's gonna be black and white. But yeah, I don't know how much money it's made. It's made $72.4 million at the box office. So that is That's what, over 3 times? I have no idea. That's over. That is over 3 times its budget. Almost 4 times its budget. Which is an insane thing to comprehend. That's not something you usually see with releases. And it's making a lot of money. The same amount of money as Shin Godzilla made. In 2016. That's around the same amount of money, I think. I think Shin Godzilla's made a bit more money. But Godzilla Minus One still playing in theaters, and yeah, so it's gonna make more money as it goes on. And what's really helped it is that it's the word of mouth has really helped it with its monetary gain. So yeah. Anyways, the CGI is really good for a $15 million movie, and something I have to say is that it's a lot better than the movies we've gotten thus far in like modern Western releases. Not Godzilla, because Godzilla CGI has always been good, unless you're talking about I guess the early Toho movies, the early 2000s Toho movies. I guess that CGI wasn't that great, but yeah. So talking about like recent Western like blockbuster hits, like any superhero movie right now, a lot of the CGI has been not good. It's not been good CGI, especially movies like Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's bad. I think I said in an episode in our Thor: Love and Thunder episode, which released like in January this year, which is insane to think about, that I thought that CGI was intentional. That bad CGI was intentional, because there's no way. I thought there was no way that they let the CGI be this bad on purpose. Not on purpose, no. Because they didn't have enough time. There was no way that happened. In my mind, there was no way that thing was intentional, and it was because, or wasn't intentional, and it wasn't intentional because they went and fixed it a little bit for the recent Disney Plus. So I was very dumbfounded. Marvel's had really bad CGI this year and last year. A bit of it's in the whole multiverse saga up until now. It's had really bad CGI. And those are $100 million budgets, $100 million, like more than $100 million. And this movie made for $15 million has produced better CGI than these big blockbuster movies, which is saying a lot. That is saying a lot of these movies, of these superhero movies. That's what I say. That like a Godzilla movie made with not even like a fifth of the budget. I don't even think a fifth of the budget, but like a tenth of the budget of a typical superhero movie, has made much more CGI, much better CGI than a movie that has over 10 times its budget. It's almost insane to think about. So yeah, I mean, just saying, it's a lot to. It's just impressive. The CGI is really good. There are scenes where it's really well made. It looks impressive. And there are very few scenes where it looks shoddy or I guess noticeably bad. But it's just great overall, and it's a vast improvement over CGI in like Shin Godzilla or something, I guess. So yeah. moving on to a thing that was actually really strong point in there's a plane going overhead. And a really strong point in the movie that I actually that surprised a lot of people, but it really did carry a movie, and that's the characters. The characters here in this movie are really well made for what they are. For what they are, really. So starting off with our main character, Koichi Shikishima. I hope I spelled that right. So Shikishima is our main, like I said, is our main character, and he was a kamikaze pilot in the war who ran into Godzilla on Odo Island, which was the island that Godzilla actually first emerged in the 1954 movie. So yeah, and in here, in this movie, Godzilla is irradiated. He doesn't start off as like Godzilla. He starts off as like a dinosaur type of creature. So yeah, but after that, Shikishima has like survival skills, and he deals with that, and he has PTSD from that, and then Godzilla resurfaces when Japan is now in a critical state after the war. They're still rebuilding, and he meets Noriko and a kid I forgot the name of. Akiko, there we go. And they kind of formed this unorthodox family, I guess. And honestly, Shikishima is one of the best characters in all of Godzilla, because you really feel the characters. You really feel the characters' like pain and agony when things are taken away from in the movie. This movie just does a lot of things great, and this character and Shikishima's character arc is really good. He starts off kind of like people shun him for surviving being a kamikaze pilot because he didn't complete his job. Pretty much. So he's shunned, and he has survival skill, and he does attempt the sacrifice at the end. Obviously, I'm talking about spoilers. This one's been out for 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks. You should already. You should probably, if you're doing this, you've probably already. If you listen to this, you've probably already seen it. But yeah. Shikishima at the end, he loses a lot of things. He doesn't lose his friend, but he does lose Noriko. I'm gonna talk about Noriko later, but Noriko's death scene doesn't really impact him, and yeah, it's just Shikishima's character just loses a lot, and he's ready to give it all to stop Godzilla, but he decides to live at the end instead of sacrificing himself to be Godzilla. But yeah, no, his character arc is great overall. I feel like he's just you really do sympathize with the guy because he's in a really tough spot. He has PTSD, so it's a lot of there's a lot of things weighing on him, and now that Godzilla's back, there's that whole thing too. So yeah, it's honestly just really just great. The character's great. He's one of the best characters in all of Godzilla, and I think it's because he really like is his main antagonist is Godzilla. Like he has a personal connection with Godzilla, and that's what I think is one of the things that makes him one of the best characters, because you really want to root for Shikishima, and this movie makes you root for him because it shows you him struggling to survive and to feed his makeshift family, and he loses, and then he loses that, and he loses that, and he tries to make it work, and Godzilla is his nemesis, and he will stop him at all costs, and he does, and you feel like Shikishima's triumphed and he's beat his demons. I mean, kind of. But yeah, no. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about Shikishima. Just honestly, one of the best characters in Godzilla. Next, moving on to Noriko, which is kind of the love interest for him. Not really. They kind of lead. They do depend on each other, but they don't consider themselves as romantically involved. But Noriko lost her family during the bombings and of like Tokyo and all that. So yeah, just Noriko is also pretty good. Something I gotta say about Noriko is that I think she was there for all the tough times in Shikishima, and it really does, and the movie really does portray that these two need each other, because they kind of gonna come to each other, and also like there's Akiko, which needs both of them, and you know, and Noriko wants to do everything to help. Like they're in this together, and you know, Noriko really does care about Shikishima. That's kind of the main, the main thing. And you see that when she sacrifices herself, again, quote unquote, sacrifices herself so Shikishima can live the first Godzilla attack. I guess the second. I guess it would be the second Godzilla attack in the movie. Like the first attack on land. So, yeah, and that Noriko's death is, I think it would have been a lot better if Noriko stayed dead. Again, spoilers, but Noriko survives the nuclear blast that was Godzilla's atomic breath, and but the thing is, you can see her like getting blasted away by the shockwave of the blast. And I thought she was dead. Like I think everyone thought she was dead. And honestly, I feel like she should have stayed dead. I don't think the movie benefited from her staying alive. It's something that doesn't make sense to me. Noriko's being alive is, I think, just not something. I don't think it's something that really benefits it. I think it actually kind of harms the movie, because it kind of takes away from her sacrifice and the fact that Shikishima needed Noriko to beat Godzilla. They both. It kind of comes full circle, the fact that they needed each other to beat Godzilla. The fact that Shikishima needed help, and that she cares about him, whatever. It brought the characters full circle. I feel, or like it made sense, and they took it away just to, I guess, have a happy ending, quotation marks. But yeah, no, it's. aside from that, I feel like Noriko's a pretty good character in Godzilla's sense. But yeah, moving on to the crew, which are Kid, Captain, and Doc. These characters, they don't do much. Doc does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to beating Godzilla, but a lot of these characters don't do much, and they're mostly there to like service the plot. But the one that really does things is Doc. The Captain and Kid don't really do much aside from helping out with Godzilla that one time. Both times actually. So yeah, I mean they're not the best characters, I would say, but they're definitely better than most Godzilla characters, you could say. And next up is some other characters. Tachibana, I think that's his name. Tachibana and Sumiko, which are some of the more supporting characters, or I guess like tertiary characters. Tachibana, I think, is a very interesting character. This is the only other one to survive, and he kind of goes into hiding and all this. And I feel like we could have seen. I feel like we could have seen a bit more of him, but it's fine. I feel like his presence did enough for what he does in the movie. I feel like he did enough, and he was there for enough. And the other character is Sumiko, which Sumiko is, I guess, a character. I guess kind of evolves over time, and really does help. She's a bit antagonistic, and maybe you don't really like her. But later on, she does. She becomes a lot more likable, I would say, and really does, and a supporting character. She does help out the main cast with Akiko, which I'm actually not going to talk about this because that's a child, and we all know that children can't be characters. They are plot devices. Children, when adults are the main characters, children are not characters. They are plot devices. So, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about Akiko. She has no character. So yeah, moving on to, I guess, the biggest character. No pun intended, but maybe. Godzilla. So Godzilla. I feel like this Godzilla is one of the best Godzillas in the whole thing, in everything. And that's because he's used as just this walking disaster that tears just hopes and dreams apart. He is absolutely menacing in this movie. I feel like it's one of the best seasons for Godzilla. Godzilla is and can be the giant monster that beats up the evil giant monster, I guess, or maybe he is the evil giant monster. Something I don't even know, but he's the one that gets beat up or beats up. But in this movie, kind of like in 1954, he is a menace to society. The destruction he causes, you can feel it. He is vile. And there are some really good scenes of him. The battleship scene where he just decimates a Japanese, a battleship, I guess, or what, I don't even know what to call it. but he just decimates it, and it is awesome. And this like scene where Godzilla is chasing down a boat, something we've never seen before, and honestly, just it's something that it's something that really does show that Godzilla is just really cool and really menacing. And something I gotta say is that the Godzilla design in Minus One is the shortest Godzilla we've gotten in a while. He's pretty small, all things considered. And honestly, I think that actually helps his design and his overall sense, because he's not humongous, but he is just I think it makes the destruction a lot more personal and much more down to earth than just wiping out a city. He is going district by district. The buildings are like he's the size of buildings. It's something you can see, and it's not something like, oh, you look up at him or people are looking at the buildings. You really get a sense of scale when he is the size of buildings, and he honestly just looks really cool with the not downscale. He's actually a bit taller than Godzilla in. Yeah, the short. He's not the shortest Godzilla, but the first few Godzillas. I think all of the Godzilla in Showa and Godzilla Filius, which is the predecessor to Godzilla Earth, and I'm pretty sure the Godzilla Ultima, when he's touched off in Singular Point, I think those are shorter than Godzilla and Godzilla Minus One. But I don't know. I don't know the size. I can look up the size. So I gotta say, I love that Godzilla is not called anything other than Godzilla, because I don't like. I'm not the biggest fan of like Godzilla being called like Ultima, Aquatilis, Amphibia, Terrestris, this shit. I don't think this is, I don't like this. I don't know if I like Godzilla having Godzilla Ultima or something. Or Godzilla Earth. I gotta say Godzilla Earth, Godzilla Earth is the worst Godzilla. Also, Godzilla Earth started off being 50 meters. But Godzilla Minus One, like, I think he's 50 what was 50.1 meters? Yeah, he's 15.1 meters, and he's 15 meters in 1945, so yeah, and initially he looks like a giant lizard. I actually do really like the initial Godzilla design before becoming radiated. I actually really do like that design. It kind of resembles Scylla a little bit, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, he's 51.1 meters, which is 0.1 meters taller than most Godzillas. Then I like the Showa, Filius, and Parrot, like Godzilla Filius, and no, the Showa, Filius, and that's about it. But he's a bit taller than them. And I guess Godzilla Earth starting off. But yeah, I like it. Talking about the design, I actually really do enjoy Godzilla design. He is, I think, the best interpretation of a modern Godzilla design we've ever gotten, because he looks like Godzilla. You cannot mistake this guy for anything else. I mean, you can't mistake any other Godzilla for anything else, but this guy is Godzilla. I feel like it's one of the designs that really does, like, it's not like, oh yeah, that's an incarnation of Godzilla. No, this is Godzilla. And as the design of this Godzilla is mostly just kind of based on the Godzilla the Ride Godzilla, then I'm pretty sure that what they're gonna do from now on is have this sort of base for the Godzilla the Ride Godzilla and like a bit of the face, like the alternate Godzilla Minus One design. Have them be like I guess evergreen designs where they're just kind of like what's it called? Transformers has this hat. I don't know if it still has, but had this thing where where they had these evergreen designs, which were gonna become this sort of like, I guess, the basis or just a design that you could default to. Yeah, so like a design that you can just default to. So I'm guessing the Godzilla the Ride Godzilla will become like this design you can always just default to and kind of modify to make it what you want. And I feel like that's probably what's gonna happen here. But Transformers had that for a while. And I think only one game used it. So yeah, just there's evergreen designs in Transformers, and they use them as basis for other designs. And honestly, the designs don't look that bad, but there's certainly just, I guess, the very basic design, which is fine. I actually don't mind there being sort of just a basic design for characters, but yeah, I think it kind of takes away from like, I guess, making your own design. But I feel like it's cool. I don't mind it. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind if it's gonna be like a more traditional Godzilla design from now on. I mean, I like this Godzilla design, but yeah, no, it's probably like the Millennium design for like the first few movies, where minus GMK and Final Wars, which had completely different Godzilla designs. But yeah, no, Godzilla here is great. I like his atomic breath. He's really cool. It's kinda like it charges up like the spines. I think I said it before the trailer, but like the spines jut out and then they slam back to each other, and that's when the atomic breath is launched out like a key is being inserted into Godzilla. I think that's really cool. It's a very unique design of Godzilla, and the atomic breath is absolutely broken. The atomic breath decimates the entire. It's a portable atomic bomb. Pretty much. I mean, atomic bomb's already portable, but it's like he can use it, and he destroys everything with it. It's like the atomic breath isn't just used as like just an attack. It's used as like, oh no, oh shit, he's using the atomic breath. So yeah. It's otherwise really good. Godzilla's really good in this, and I really did enjoy him. So yeah, moving away from Godzilla, let's move into the plot of the whole thing. Yeah, that's what we really talk about here. So the plot of the movie is really, I think, like I said, the characters really, it's a lot more character driven. Which is why I'm mostly talking about characters here. A lot of the plots are a lot more. This plot's more character driven, but I feel like what they do here is really cool, and that the plot, it's it's just Shikishima. I guess the whole plot is just Shikishima getting his revenge on Godzilla. It's a revenge plot, but what the plot also does is that it delivers a message of preserving human life and celebrating human life, which is really interesting. It's a thing that Godzilla. It's a thing that Godzilla really hasn't done. The plot and the message aren't things that Godzilla is really known for, like the franchise. So the fact that it's here is really impressive, and they didn't respect it expertly. Like I said earlier, Shikishima, he doesn't sacrifice himself, but he does beat Godzilla. He doesn't sacrifice himself so like Akiko doesn't become alone and whatever. Noriko saves Shikishima, sacrificing himself, or so we think, for like until the end, so Shikishima could have a chance at life and beating Godzilla. Tachibana actually puts in the ejector seat on his plane, on like Shikishima's new plane, so he can live. So the plot is a lot more about celebrating human life, and also shows Godzilla's destruction and how human life perseveres in the wake of destruction. Like Godzilla decimates. Like I said earlier, Godzilla decimates everybody. You feel the destruction. Not just on not just like on a city level, like on a personal level, because this is seen in the movie where Akiko just starts crying during when she learns that Noriko is dead, or probably dead, and that scene hurts. It hurts to watch, to hear. It just straight up hurts. That kid that portrayed Akiko has some serious talent, because she made me feel bad in a Godzilla movie for the characters. Like like that movie. The movie sets up like they're all struggling, and Noriko really wants to be helpful, and it's just they're just starting to sort of like get to know, like finally get on their feet, and Noriko dies, and it's a really good scene. I guess it's a really good scene. But yeah, no, otherwise the plot is great. I do like the plot a lot of this movie. It's a movie that like it needs the plot, and honestly, just otherwise really good. The plot is actually good in a Godzilla movie, which is something that I thought I'd never say before. But yeah. Speaking of actually being good, our fifth and final point, and I guess I'll do a sixth point. I'll add a sixth point. Oh, actually no, this is gonna be part of the point. The Reiwa era is finally good. So Reiwa hasn't had the best track record, I would say. Reiwa started with Shin Godzilla, which I actually didn't like that much, but it's one of the better Reiwa movies. Then the Polygon trilogy, which is actual dog shit. Those series of movies get to be in a dumpster, and you know what? Toho forgot about them, so let's forget about them too. They didn't put them when they were doing their countdown for Godzilla Minus One. So I'm guessing that they just forgot. They either forgot about it, or they are purposely not doing them because they know that those movies suck. And you know what? I'm with them. Like I said, like I probably mentioned before, Planet Eater is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It is actually impressive how bad it is. But yeah, so yeah, It's honestly, it's impressive it's taken this long to really see Reiwa become the thing that I feel like it should have always been. The return to form for Godzilla. But it just wasn't. It wasn't the return of God. It wasn't. It's a lot. It's a lot more like Millennium. In the sense that there's a bunch of things going. There's a bunch of like different movies going on, but there's no cohesion in any of them. They're not connected. The ones that are connected are bad ones, and I didn't even mention Singular Point. Singular Point's awful. I hate Singular Point. Just because you talk about a lot of stuff, cool, like sciencey stuff, doesn't mean you're actually smart. And I just didn't like what they did with Singular Point. So it's taken quite a bit to see Reiwa become good. And I hope that they do really keep up with the Reiwa, the Reiwa good trait, like Reiwa being good. I don't know what's next for Godzilla in Japan. It could be anything. I don't think it's gonna be a sequel to the Minus One. I feel like Minus One's a one and done movie. I don't think we're getting a sequel to Minus One. If we are, then I hope it's something with. I hope it's if we're getting something with Minus One, I hope it's good. But yeah, no, what I hope is that Minus One becomes like this precedent that they don't need to be Shin Godzilla, because one of my main gripes, I think a lot of people's gripes with the Reiwa era thus far is that it looked at Shin Godzilla's success and I started replicating that for every movie. Like, for example, Godzilla Singular Point has a scene which is like straight up ripped from Shin Godzilla. There is no point of originality in there. It is just Shin Godzilla's scene. And in this movie, and in Minus One, there are a lot of movies, and there's a lot of things here that really do work, and they do show, I guess, what Shin Godzilla should have really been. This is one of the best Godzilla movies, like, objectively. Nobody that I've ever seen talk about this movie being a Godzilla fan has ever not liked this movie. It is universally liked, at least. People, and if you don't like it, you love it. Like, there's no way. I've not met a single person that hasn't liked this movie. So, honestly, I hope they continue with it. I hope they have this thing. I heard that Toho was trying to make their own sort of cinematic Godzilla universe. Here, I hope they don't continue it. I hope they don't continue that with Minus One. I hope they don't with I hope they do another reboot, but they kind of continue on with that. Or maybe even do like an anime series, an actual good anime series. Kind of like Gamma Rebirth, which we talked about earlier, two episodes ago, pretty much. That we see, what's it called? At each season or like a few episodes, we get like new monsters and all this, and it doesn't need to be a whole movie saga, you know. I just hope that we get more good Godzilla content in the future, because we desperately need it. Reiwa hasn't been good for a while, and now it's getting good, and I hope that Toho realizes that what we want is more like Godzilla Minus One, or more traditional Godzilla than what they did with Godzilla later on in the Showa era. Maybe see more Showa monsters. Maybe even see new monsters coming into Godzilla. We had new monsters in Singular Point, but they're kind of forgotten. They kind of just took monsters that already existed and named them something else. so I don't count them as much. So yeah, I hope that we get to see more Godzilla from Toho later on. Hopefully sooner rather than later. And yeah, otherwise than that, Godzilla Minus One is a really great step into seeing what Toho can really do with Godzilla, and not try to replicate their successor Shin Godzilla. Which, I mean, I didn't like it, so you could tell that I don't like what the Reiwa era has been. So yeah. So Godzilla Minus One is really good, and that's really about it. So, what do you guys think about Godzilla Minus One? Leave it in the comments below. Well, if you're watching on YouTube. So yeah, talking about that, you can follow us on MediaFay on Spotify, at D Entertainment on YouTube, and at Media_Buffet on Twitter, at D8 Entertainment with the E at the end on Twitter as well, and MediaFay bonus at MediaFay YT. Go subscribe to that. We haven't posted in a year, but we will eventually post more stuff on there. So yeah, for me, at Mercury S Cheese on Twitter, at Mercury SC on YouTube, and Mercury C Cheese on Twitch. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.